Welcome, everybody. Thanks for joining us with our conversation today. We're down here at Pollyanna in downtown St. Charles. I want to thank them for letting us use their place today and be here. And we're with Christian and Julia Lynn, somewhat of a newly married couple. You've been married for just a little over a year. Thanks for being with us this morning. So how was married life?
Whew, it's a whirlwind.
Is it?
A lot of people say, the first year is difficult, and I would say that they're probably definitely right.
What's the biggest thing?
Learning how to die to yourself daily. So,
right.
You learn that a little bit growing up in your own family, but when, it's a marriage covenant, it's a totally different scenario.
The two become one flesh,
There
and
you
then
go.
the one flesh union is about lots of surrender. Yes. Yeah.
But the joys have been just as great, so
Yeah.
it's been great.
What's the best thing?
Oh gosh, I'm playing a lot of tennis together, so that's been, growing our patience, growing our humility, so it's been good.
You guys play tennis?
Yeah.
Have you played Father Clater?
Yeah.
He's talked about that.
Yeah, I've coached Father Clater a little bit because I played in college and then was a professional player for a little while and then coached for several years while I was getting my
Did you beat him?
master's degree. Yes,
Good.
but Father Clater's claim to fame is he has beaten me once, so he calls himself a professional player now. Yeah.
I see. All right, I'm gonna remember that.
Yeah.
That's terrific. How did you guys meet?
So we met actually through Faith and Fellowship, which is a group in the Tri-Cities area. Bunch of young adults from different parishes get together on Friday nights. We go over the readings for Sunday, the upcoming Sunday, and then we all go out for drinks or food or whatever afterwards. And it was kind of both of our first time going, and the last seats available were next to each other.
Oh my gosh!
And boom, there you go.
So
You guys sat next to you. The Lord put you two together.
He did.
Absolutely.
He did.
Just like that.
No one else wanted to sit next to him, so I had to. So.
That's probably true. But no, I mean, a real colliding of worlds because we were in two completely different places.
With our faith lives.
Yeah, with all sorts of things in our lives. And I mean, really, it was a crashing of those two worlds.
Well, so before because I want to talk about that, just real briefly, what are your professions? What do you do?
So I'm an ER nurse over at Delnor. So come say hi. Don't, please, actually.
Yeah, don't.
Because that would mean I'd be in the ER.
Exactly.
I don't want to.
Exactly.
And I work as a data scientist for Baxter International, so the company that invented the IV.
Really? Mm-hmm. Look at that. Now, they're up in the North Shore, aren't they?
Yeah.
Do you have to commute every day?
No, I haven't been to work in,
Oh, praise God.
almost
Commute from the kitchen
2 years now.
to your desk. No.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. From the bedroom, maybe put some clothes on, and then then I'm at the desk.
But you've always got a shirt on. So
Yes,
that's
exactly.
good. Yeah. The big sheet. There we go. So you said you were coming from different places.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Yeah. So I was cradle Catholic. Actually, was raised going to the Latin Mass most of my life, and that was kind of a whole journey, through college and figuring out, developing a relationship with Jesus through all that. And through the beauty of tradition. And then I was looking for, a really solid Catholic guy. I had all these high standards. And I meet this guy, and we had some great conversations, but I just knew he was just kind of becoming more reintroduced to his faith. And I was like, this is just not going to cut it. I knew what I was looking for. And actually, one of our first conversations that night we met was about Pascal's wager, which, should I go into that?
Yeah,
I don't know. Okay,
please.
so Pascal's wager, there's four possibilities in life: that either God exists and you believe in him, or he doesn't exist and you don't believe in him. And there can be any combination of those. So the thought process is that, well, we don't know if God exists, so we might as well act like he exists and we believe in him, and that'll give us the best outcome, versus if he does exist and we don't believe, we're going to be in some trouble.
Right.
Possibly, if we live our lives not according to that. So we had this conversation about Pascal's wager and philosophy, and he's trying to impress me with his philosophy background and all this. And
Worked.
The addendum to that, the addendum to that is that, okay, so if you want to believe that God exists, you want to live your life like that, look to the people who do live their lives like that, and live like that for a year, and soon enough you become one of them. And so
I was coming at this from a totally different standpoint.
Yeah.
I went to school in Virginia. The closest Catholic church was half an hour away, and as a student, college-age person, with tournaments on the weekends most days, yada, yada. That drive didn't happen too often. But there was always a call that that's where I wanted to be. But kind of the separation. I can't give up this, my time. But even though it's kind of important, I guess. Right?
Yeah.
So I moved back home. And my dad, who used to give up being a heathen for Lent, right? And so he'd go to Mass only during Lent. And when I came about, he started going more often. But it wasn't until my confirmation classes that required him to be there.
Oh.
Right, at St. Pat's, downstairs in the old school.
Yeah.
Where he got exposed to not only a more definitive educational experience of his faith, but also other people around him that had that faith. So while I was at school, he was really transforming. When I got home, instead of, maybe let's go to Mass, it was, right, we're going. I don't know. Yeah, and so so he made me.
Okay.
He made me go. And I got involved with the choir because I had nothing better to do. I had just gotten home from school and was loving that, and had my first experience of kind of a full Christmas really preparing myself for the music, but then through the faith because of the people around me and the environment. So I was having my first inklings of wow, this feels good. I'm having an experience of going to Mass that's very different, and it's not so much about me. Right? It's about the people that I'm with, and so I had just entered this phase when we met.
And so when did you guys meet? How many years ago?
We met 5 years ago now.
5 years. How long did you date?
So we went on exactly 2.5 dates, and then I cut it off because I didn't think it was going good places. Yeah.
How did you feel about that?
I knew from the first date, maybe even before that it was it. Oh. And it
was painful.
Oh, it took me a long time to get over it. And never really did, actually. And lo and behold, Pascal's wager.
Yeah.
She said, live in the shoes of the guy that walks the faith for a year. And you'll be amazed at what happened. Well, 1 year later.
Literally to the day, not on purpose, we had kind of gotten back together, and that's when we kind of made it official.
Decided, let's give it a shot.
You must have seen something.
Oh, yeah.
What did you see?
Yeah, so when we had gone on a few dates and then we stopped dating, we kept seeing each other at these faith and fellowship meetings, and it's a really great group of people, and I just saw him just becoming lighter, happier, more at peace, kind of figuring out what he wanted to do with his life, and every time we saw each other, we just knew that we got along really well. And it finally all came to a head the following May/June that he just was fire for his faith. He knew what he wanted. He knew who Jesus was. He knew who Jesus was in his life. And that was it. I was sold.
Oh.
So, yeah.
Wow.
I know.
Did you notice, like all of a sudden, I'm going to do this, Pascal's wager. I'm going to put myself in the shoes of this guy for a year, where it was no longer you pretending, but it is actually something you were becoming? Is there a spot there and there you noticed it?
Absolutely. My faith journey really culminated in a retreat for this faith and fellowship group. Never done anything like that before in my life. And I had been avoiding confession for 5-6 years, probably more than that. And I've been developing my faith, but there was a tension right? Something was wrong in this relationship. And there was an opportunity. It was one of the first times I'd ever been to adoration. Mm-hmm. And they said, we have a priest here, and he's going to hear confessions, and he's going to be here for 2 hours, and there's only 15 of us. And I had kind of nowhere to go suddenly, right? And so I go into confession and bear as much of my soul as I could, and came back, and there was Jesus. And this little period, like I said, was like 2 hours. So for the next hour and a half, I just sat and cried. Mm-hmm. That blockage of grace had been removed, mm-hmm. and everything came flooding in. And from that point onward, my life just started changing. The priorities reoriented.
Wow.
And that's a couple months later. Lo and behold,
there it is.
She started talking to me again.
Look,
I could tell. That's what the difference was. It was the grace.
Something profound happened, and you could see it in him, that this is a guy who is going to be a good Catholic, good husband, good father, mm-hmm. a good disciple.
Yeah.
Wow, good. That's
still working on it.
That's really amazing. How long have you guys been at St. Pat's?
So you've been there your whole life.
Yeah. All my sacraments mm-hmm. have been at St. Pat's. And
did you go to grade school there?
No.
Okay. All right.
So, just Sunday Mass and the confirmation, baptism.
And how many? And there's so many of our young people who have lived that life, just kind of do the thing, but it never gets through that moment of resistance. Like the two of you who have found each other and found a way to live the Catholic life in your marriages, like what would be one piece of advice that you would give some of these young people who are just sort of going along but haven't experienced how good it can be? Like how would you get them there? Somebody who's gone through it, what do young people need? What are they looking for?
You want to take that one first?
I think, and this has been a big part of our marriage so far, because that's been a total deepening of that relationship and understanding of what's going on. But the trust in the Lord and the plan that He has for you, because letting go of the things you want so much, mm-hmm. And surrendering them is both freeing, mm-hmm. brings you peace, but also, I know there's an old adage for people who are looking to date, when they're trying so hard all the time, it doesn't work. But the second they say, "I'm done with women," with
the dating thing.
Yeah, done with the dating thing. Right, that's when it kind of happens sometimes. That's kind of an old wives' tale or whatever you want to say.
But there's great wisdom there. I mean, we force things because it's what I want, and I've got this plan. And meanwhile, people forget that the Lord's plan for us is infinitely greater than anything we can come up with on our own. But it's that scary moment where, for me to have that, I have to let go of my control and trust that the Lord is really going to take care of me, huh? There are a lot of young people who, they're in that situation. I just so much want this, but can't let go so that the Lord can get in there and do it Himself, huh? Yeah. That's good advice. Yeah.
I would agree. I would say probably the biggest thing would be just challenging God. Oftentimes we feel like we have to pray a certain way and act a certain way, but it's like, if you just say, you know what, God, I'm going to give you a month. I'm going to challenge you to change my heart and just see what you do. And you're going to Mass, you just commit to, a period of time where you're frequenting the sacraments, you're just making it happen. And then when you step back and you feel like, wait a second, my soul and my heart and my life have changed so much. I have so much more peace mm-hmm. and joy. And even as someone who, has was blessed to be kind of raised with that. I go through periods of dryness, and when you recommit to just doing the basic things, and then you step back and you're like, oh shoot, I think I need to be doing this more, because it changes how you're living your life, changes your relationships, just your interior peace.
Yeah.
So I think just taking a period of time, committing to doing what you feel like you maybe should be doing, going to Mass, going to confession, stopping in the Adoration Chapel, and then kind of challenging God to take that and just give you way more graces than you ever would have expected, and seeing what He can do in your life has been huge.
And part of that, I think, is that young people, everybody is afraid, well, if I do this, I'm going to lose something.
Yeah.
And that, I think, keeps people a little bit stuck, because I don't want my life to change. I want Jesus, but I want it like this. And you've lived a pretty faithful, energetic Catholic life. You had a conversion. So was there, for either of you, is there ever been something that you identified that you've maybe had to let go of in order to live the life that you've got right now?
I think for me, it's touching on what you said a little bit, wanting to control what's next.
Yeah.
I think a lot of the feminine genius is wonderful, but a lot of the downside of being a woman is you're planning and you're thinking ahead and you're trying to prepare, and you're so not focused on what's happening right now. We were just talking about this the other day, that when I was in college, I just wanted to be a nurse. That's all I want, Lord. And then, when I was out of college, I just wanted to find someone and fall in love. And I was just always thinking ahead and thinking about how I could get there and what I could do to prepare myself. And I just want to be engaged. I just want to be married. And I think when you stop and just take each moment and focus on the moment you're in, you realize how much God has blessed you in that moment, and how much maybe that's going to be a blessing later on, the things that you're looking ahead to and you're hoping for in your life. But just really being intentional about enjoying the times that you're in has been huge. And I feel like a lot of women can relate in kind of my conversations with sisters and girlfriends. Yeah, it's just stopping the wheels turning of what you need to do to kind of move your life along, and just ride the wave and let God kind of let your life happen as it's supposed to unfold in His plan and His timing.
Sure.
So.
Yeah. What about you, Christian?
I forgot the question.
I was listening to my lovely wife talk.
And her feminine genius. Yeah, and so what have you lost as a result of gaining your faith?
Oh man, a lot of that. Having to rely on myself so much.
Yeah.
That gets dissipated.
Yeah.
And I know I still continue to struggle with that, and all the things in my life, especially the distractions that I fill my life with, and the noise that our modern world has. Those are the things I need to let go.
Yeah.
Right? Because
it's hard for a guy to let go of that sense of control, and I have to fix this, and it's within, everything's within my capability, and that's tough. Yeah. Now, you guys have been married since last June, so over a year. Did you guys ever fight?
Never.
No.
Actually, did I just lie in front of a priest?
This is going to be broadcast, right?
Oh gosh, yeah. Those are the moments most of all when we had a disagreement or an argument, or I'm impatient or whatever else, that the dying to self really comes in, because you have to keep living with each other. You're not going anywhere.
Right.
That's where the dying to self really comes in and forces me to step back, recognize where I made a mistake and apologize and move on from it. So, yeah, I would say we're both, pretty strong-willed people, opinionated. So, yeah, we fight. But it's about, it's just like confession. You come back, you say I'm sorry, and you work to fix it in the future. So,
and you just...
I'm gonna go with whatever she says.
No, I mean, totally. That's very smart.
Yes, yeah. Let's see. I have learned that, and I think really echoing what she says, and developing that it is that built-in sanctification, absolutely, and
so you mean by that letting these moments, instead of becoming obstacles, things that deepen your love for each other, deepen your faith, make you better, more mature? Is that what you're talking about?
Definitely.
Yeah. And realizing that, and especially for a guy, I think even if you're not super decisive all the time, you typically are saying, this is the thing that I'm going to do, and I'm going to do it. And so it's a little bit of the masculine nature. And the hardest thing, and something that we've argued about frequently, is I know it's right, but we're not doing it.
Yeah.
What happens now?
That's
hard.
That's pretting perceptive. Yeah, you know what you're supposed to do, but you just, I don't want, that's called pride.
Yeah, that whole thing. So letting go of that, I think, is already been the biggest thing.
One last thing. You guys pray together?
Yeah.
Was that always easy?
No, especially in the beginning, when we started dating the second time. He was still figuring out, we were still figuring out
It's
how...
like a new language. It's like speaking
it is.
Spanish.
Yes. Yeah. So, we pray together. We'll try to say a rosary for the most part daily if we can. And just a few words, when we wake up, when we go to bed, before meals, just to kind of reorient, what are we doing with our lives? What are we focusing on each day?
All right, so most couples don't pray together. Most couples preparing for marriage don't pray together. What advice would you give a couple preparing for marriage on how to get into that rhythm? How would you tell them to do that?
Don't be afraid to stink.
Yeah.
It's like with everything.
Right.
You're learning to bike or ice skate.
Right.
What do? You fall and you laugh about it.
Right.
But prayer sometimes feels
such
so
an awkward,
formal.
intimate language.
Yes.
And
you hide behind either a standard prayer sometimes, or it's all clean language.
Right.
And the best prayers that I've had in my life alone are
just when you let it go.
Yeah, when you're having that conversation with the creator of the universe, how amazing is that? But suddenly with another person, right?
The vulnerability is huge.
Well, yeah, and why does I'm talking to God, and with this person, why do I care so much about what this other person thinks? Right. And so to let go of that, because those communications, they say about building relationship is about that vulnerability and the open communication. Yeah. Well, this is to a whole new level.
Right.
Yeah.
And try your best.
Yeah.
I would just say start small. Just, I think it was St. Teresa of Lisieux who said, the best prayers are the ones that I just talk to God, literally. And it doesn't have to be some big, elaborate, speech. And just, thank you, Lord. Thank you for today. Help us to remember your love. Amen.
Yeah, because the Lord already knows what you want to say.
Right. He knows what's on your heart.
He just wants you to own it and put it out there.
Yeah.
Vulnerability. So that's great. I've noticed, and I've been pastor for a little over 2 years, people come to Mass in all different forms. They dress up, they wear T-shirts, shorts, and flip-flops, and you two have stepped up your game in terms of how you present yourselves to the Mass, to the Lord, for that most important thing we do all week. You dress, you wear a suit. You're one of the few people in the church who's got a suit on. People notice that.
Yeah.
And it's like, why is he doing that? Because this is God, right? And so what's your thought behind that?
Yeah.
It's been a development. Originally, I was singing and started cantering before that real understanding had come about. And so that was built in, where if I want to be in front of a bunch of people, what do? You dress up. That eventually, the understanding of the Mass developed, and then it was even more important. And all of the things that I did in front of people was not about me. It was, how can I give 100% of myself, and to maybe, just maybe, if the Lord lets me, show that I'm not here for this. I'm here for Him. And that now attending Mass, it really hit me. I don't know if it was Easter or Christmas or something like that, where I'm running around the house trying on different outfits. I got 8 ties all strewn about the room. And it was so important to me, my pride to look good in that moment, to put on the right impression.
Right.
And I think everybody can relate to that.
Yeah.
And going to Mass 2 days, 3 days later, and okay, I'll just throw something. And it hit me.
Wow.
Every Sunday Mass, every Mass, daily Mass, that I go to is infinitely more important than Easter brunch or whatever else I'm going to. It's the most important thing.
We dress up for weddings, and this is the ultimate wedding.
This is it.
Wedding Feast of the Lamb, right?
I
There we
often
go.
think of the fact that, the angels, it said that the angels are jealous of us, that we get to receive the Eucharist. And I can't put on a dress, like I want to give the Lord honor while I'm there. It's angels are, supposedly they're much smarter creatures, much more powerful than us, yet they're jealous of us because we get to be present at the sacrifice of the Mass. And so, it was in my upbringing, to kind of dress up for Mass, but you have to be intentional about it. Like, what am I going to do? It's like when you get ready for a date. I'm not going to just show up in sweats, and my hair is all messy. And
At least not the first date,
At least not the first date. I want to show honor to the person that I'm going to spend time with.
Praise God. Yeah. Well, you two are just a great example, just for faith in our parish, faith in marriage, faith for young people and how it's possible.
Yeah.
So Julia and Christian, I just want to thank you so much for joining us today. And folks, I want to thank you for being with us today. And I want to thank Pollyanna for letting us come and enjoy this beautiful space here in downtown St. Charles. So thanks, everybody. Have a great day. God bless you.